Meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Ms. Bemis,
Here.
Ms. Menner,
Here.
Mr. Purdue,
Here.
Mr. Rader,
Here.
Ms. Ornery.
Here. 5 yes. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Resolution 158-20, approve revision of agenda. Approval or revision of agenda.
I'll make a motion, we approve the agenda as written.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mr. Purdue, second by Mr. Rader. Roll call, please.
Ms. Bemis,
Yes.
Ms. Menner,
Yes.
Mr. Purdue,
Yes.
Mr. Rader,
Yes.
Ms. Ornery.
Yes. 5 yes.
Hi, I just want to invite and welcome everyone here this evening. Due to restrictions from COVID-19 and the inability to hold public meetings, the Reading Board of Education passed a resolution at a previous meeting to suspend public participation. We look forward to a time when these restrictions are lifted and we can open our meetings again to the public. In the meantime, we still want to give our community the opportunity to ask questions. Please submit your questions to questions@readingschools.org. Okay, number 2 is board discussion items. Mr. Enix?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Warren. This evening, you'll have before you a recommendation. Sorry.
Sorry about that. Ms. Wernery and the Board of Education, thank you for the opportunity here tonight to present to you an item for board action here this evening, the recommendation for the Reading reopening plan for the 2021 school year. First of all, I'd like to thank so many of those that are involved or have been involved in the hard work to create what we feel is a plan that meets the needs of our staff and our students, as well as meets the guidelines that have been put together for us by the CDC and the Ohio Department of Health, among many other organizations. I'd like to particularly extend a big thank you to our staff and our association here in the district for their support and their involvement in this process, as well as our parent advisory group, as well as all of the questions that have been provided and sent to us over the last several days and really over the last couple of weeks. Just a quick note, this afternoon, all of our questions that had been submitted prior to 12 o'clock yesterday have been answered and posted on our website for anyone that would like a chance to read through the questions. Those questions have been grouped into categories and responded to. So it's the effort was made, of course, for every single question to be on that document. There's, as you might imagine, a lot of duplication, as there were some very common questions. And hopefully last night, if you had a chance to tune into our question and answer session on our community forum, you got a sense of the most frequently asked questions amongst all of our questions that were submitted. That document is 39 pages long, so it will be some good reading for those that are interested in reading that. But again, would like to thank all of those that were involved in the last several weeks in putting together this plan, and for the Board of Education for your time and effort as part of this as well. So thank you very much. I'm unmuted on here. Right.
I will say occasionally, from watching last night, there are occasional ins and outs.
Apologize for the delay. Hopefully all of you are able to hear me just fine, but the last couple statements are really, again, an acknowledgement of a lot of work by a lot of people, including staff, parents, community members, our administrative team, and of course, Board of Education. Thank you for your involvement in this process. Again, we had a large number of questions last evening that were asked as part of our virtual community forum. Again, again, appreciate all of the feedback and responses that we've received, and looking forward to getting our plan put together and ready to move forward to start the 2021 school year. And again, on your consideration for board action tonight, again, proudly present our reopening plan for your vote. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Enix. This evening, the Board of Education is being asked to approve the plan for reopening the school district. I would like to spend just a few minutes explaining my thoughts. I understand and appreciate whatever plan is chosen. It will have an effect on all of our families, one way or the other. As one of your board members, it is my responsibility to listen to all the facts and make the best possible decision for the safety and well-being of the students and the staff in our district. We are all aware of different schools doing different plans, whether it's 100% remote to 100% open fully. Due to the fact that each district is different with building sizes, busing, furniture, and so many other variables, the governor chose to allow each of us local control in making the reopening plan. Reading chose to include all of their stakeholders in this process. Mr. Enix has just mentioned those, and the board really appreciates all of the committees, the feedback, the questions throughout the process. After surveying, or after having parent input, teacher input, and many others in following the guidelines recommended by the CDC and other entities, Mr. Enix presented the findings to the board. Do we want our students back in school? Absolutely, we want our students back in school. It has never been in question. It was only after looking at the guidelines from the CDC, most recently by OEA, that the safest way for our children and our teachers to return is by choosing a blended approach. I believe it would be irresponsible to choose any other option at this point. So, and there are so many out there, so which blended approach do we choose? I believe there's value in each type of blended learning that is out there. But the question is, which is the best for our children as far as academically? As a former teacher, I strongly support the half-day model for several reasons. Students need routine. By having them in school each day, they are given the routine of a regular schedule. I witnessed what a classroom was like after a spring break, after winter break, and even after a 3-day weekend. And to ask that type of plan where our kids are in class 2 long days and off 5, to me is problematic to say the least. There will never be a sense of routine with that type of model. Secondly, I cannot imagine having our students or teachers being required to wear a mask continuously for 6 hours a day. To limit that to 3 hours seems more manageable for everyone. It has been determined that our cafetorium cannot be used for lunch. Once again, on a practical level, our teachers have a negotiated contract. In that agreement, and by state law, each employee is required to be given 30 minutes of uninterrupted lunch. With this plan, we'll be able to accommodate this, whereas 2 full days, the students would need to eat in their classrooms. Lastly, I support this plan of blended learning because I continually ask the question in the spring, what about our students who are on IEPs and 504s? How are they being supported? This plan allows for that. With remote day on Wednesdays, students that need extra support will be given the chance to receive it. This afternoon, the board received an email from the Teachers Association supporting this plan for many of the same reasons that I have just mentioned. Along with those, they also added small class sizes, good balance between home and school, and by following the 6 feet of distancing, it allows for the safest environment possible. Again, there's no question we want the students back in school, and we'll be reviewing this plan and making any changes necessary by December 1st for the 2nd semester. We know this isn't easy for anyone. We know that, we understand and we appreciate that. but is the only responsible choice to make at this time. With that being said, I make the motion to approve the reopening plan, which is Resolution 160-20.
Second.
We have a motion by Mrs. Warner, a second by Mr. Purdue. Discussion.
Ms. Warner, if I could please, just very briefly, the reopening plan was submitted to the Hamilton County Department of Health earlier this week. We understand that the County Health Department is not in the business of approving reopening plans. However, I did submit it to the County Health Department for their feedback and did receive a very prompt response. And there will be 2 or 3 minor adjustments to this plan simply based upon guidance that has been changed since this plan was submitted. This is really regarding additional COVID-19 symptoms to be aware of. That is, I believe, on page 4, and that is a hyperlink that we will update as the additional guidance is provided. And also on the last page, there are a number of just procedural recommendations that's been made by the CDC on returning to school from a COVID-19 positive case or suspected case that changes the 72 hours fever-free to 24 hours fever-free. So these were recommendations that were strictly procedural in nature, not directly related to the plan itself. Again, there was no approval process for this, but those were the only feedback items I have received from the County Health Department, and appreciate their work as they are clearly a very busy organization right now and have been very generous of their time with the county superintendents of Hamilton County to help support and guide the process here as we've gone through the last several months. And again, with reviewing our plan that has been presented to you. So those are the only updates, and those would be in a final draft. I think you made a very, very good point as well, that it is our plan today. If approved, it was also designed to be flexible and able for us to be able to move freely between different models depending on the status of our environment and COVID-19 over the next several months. And again, we really are looking forward to being able to, again, not have to use the flexibility, but if we need to be flexible, we can. And again, if there's any additional guidance or direction that's given to us, either by the state level or at the county level, or perhaps even the federal level, this plan can be updated and adjusted as needed and revised. So we'll keep you posted on any further developments, but it's important to let all of you know, as well as to those that are out there in the community, that this has been submitted and been given just minor feedback on some procedural changes, and otherwise no other changes were provided or any other feedback given. Thank you.
I just want to echo everything that Beth said, really. I mean, I had thoughts in my mind and they were spot on. I think at the end of the day, there is absolutely no perfect model for anyone, because the perfect model is kids back in school all day, every day. But this is completely unprecedented times, and that is just not a possibility, at least not for Reading schools at this point. And therefore, I firmly believe that this is the best model at this time. I have no reservations about that. I am very thankful and grateful, I know we all are, to you, Mr. Enix, for all of the hard work. I mean, kudos to staff, REA, everybody, but I know that you have worked tirelessly on this, and the question and answers sessions was terrific. I do want everyone out there at home listening to know that we have heard what everyone is saying. We did care about and take into consideration the survey results. We did. And the survey said, get our kids back in school. And we're getting our kids back in school. I mean, this is 4 days a week getting back in school while also following CDC guidelines. And those are the 2 things we have to do. This is the best of both worlds. And while we do represent our community members out there, we also have other responsibilities to protecting our students and our staff. And this is the plan that best does that. I have 0 reservations about that. And I hope that we can look down the line come December and we can be in a different position by then. But thank you, Mr. Enix, and everyone as well.
Yeah, again, I would just like to echo Beth and Alicia and Mr. Enix, and our number one priority here is safety, and I think that's this is the best we can do at this point in time. Like Alicia said, come December, we're hopeful that all of this will be gone, or kind of lessened, just to get the kids back in school and where we want them ultimately. So I definitely agree with both of you guys.
Okay, I'm going to probably be the winded one. Um, Again, I recognize, Jason, you've done a fantastic job with this plan. You know, you worked tirelessly, and it. I've teeter tottered back and forth between this plan and some other plans I've seen. Um, I've beaten myself up a lot over the entire week, um, with all the feedback on Facebook, and looking at all the responses that we've gotten. Um, there's some concerns that I have just looking at the plan, and it's just logistics. Um, with getting students, we have 3 hours or 3.5 hours of learning time, and trying to get these kids in the doors. I don't know if we're going to be able to do it without interrupting that learning time. Um, and I know it's going to be a learning curve for a while. Um, I just I don't know if I'm 100% into the morning and afternoon plan. I just I'm looking at, just I try to put myself in the students' perspective of it, thinking I'm back in these halls again, and you know, what would that look like for me if I was doing that? Um, but I mean, it is a good plan, and I don't want to sell that short whatsoever. It is a great plan. Um, I just, knowing this community and having the both parents working and worrying about, the getting the kids to and fro, and it's I mean, there is no perfect scenario here. There is no perfect plan. Um, we can't go 5 days a week. We're asking for trouble. Um, so that is definitely out. I know that's what a lot of people want, and I get it, but with the safety involved and the time and all that, can't happen. At least not yet. Hopefully, after December, this thing goes away and we just go back to life as normal. Um, but it's a hard decision because you want to make the right decision, and we have to. I got 3 kids in the school, but the way I consider it, I got 1,600 kids in the school, and thinking about every one of them in their scenario is just, you want to make the right decision, but it's you just don't know what to do. So, um, but again, I what everybody has done to make this plan, to come up with this plan, it was phenomenal. You guys did a great job. Um, I just have some things hold me back, but I this hopefully will work out, and we get these kids back into a normal life as much as we can. So.
Okay, you guys kind of made it easy for me because I echo everything most of you said. I understand, Jason, where you're at mentally on this. We have received a tremendous amount of information, Jason, from you, because all of the hard work and dedication that you've put in our teachers, the administrators. And it is not a perfect world out there right now. It would be nice to sit here and say, school's going to start, we're going back 5 days, and it would be wonderful for everybody. It would solve a lot of problems. But unfortunately, right now, that's not the world that we're in. And based upon all of the input, everything that we've read, all the questions that we have asked, all the questions that we have heard, and the answers that we have heard, this is probably better than anything else out there for this school. And we're unique because we are small. There's a lot of schools that couldn't even begin to do what we're going to jump into for busing and everything else. So, you know, I appreciate everything that everybody has done. I fully support this. And hopefully, maybe even in a month, maybe 6 weeks, if the governor comes and says, we're finished with all this, COVID seems to have died off, we're under no restrictions. One thing about the plan, we are very flexible. And then we can have hopefully a better conversation sooner than what we want. But for right now, this is the safest way for our students to get them back in here. Everything that I've read outside of here, all of the medical field has said the kids need to get back in. So this is a good way to get them in. We're not throwing 6 or 7 hours at them at a time. So hopefully everybody will get in. Jason, to your point, hopefully everything gets better and better because the first short period of time, hopefully a week or two, all of those things are going to be practiced time and time and again, and the learning curve is going to go to zero. And everybody, the parents, the students, those taking temperatures, everything will work out fine. So I feel like if we just go ahead, support it, everybody jumps in and supports this plan and try to make it work for the best that our kids can have, then I think we've all put in a lot of mental anguish with this, and I think we're doing the right thing to make our students as safe as we possibly can. Thank you.
Sorry. Okay, since there's no more discussion, there is a motion. Roll call, please.
Ms. Bennett,
Yes.
Ms. Menner,
Yes.
Mr. Purdue,
Yes.
Mr. Rader,
No.
Ms. Warnery.
Yes, 4-1. This motion carries. Okay. Okay, executive session, resolution 160-20 to consider the employment of public employee or official. And I need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Purdue, second by Mr. Rader. And roll call, please.
Ms. Bennett,
Yes.
Ms. Menner, Mr. Purdue,
Yes, yes.
Mr. Rader,
Yes.
Ms.
Yes,
Warnery.
5 yes, and the time?
5:54.
Okay,
And there'll be no other motions after.
there'll be no, okay,
Shouldn't be.
there will be no actions taken after executive session. For taking some time. I appreciate that. Okay, so we are back. Time
6:45.
6:45. And do we need a motion to come back in? Thank you. Need a motion to adjourn. Motion by Mr. Rader, second by Mr. Purdue to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh.
6:45.
All right, have a nice evening, everyone.